the one, the only, Benzion. Okay, good morning and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube Daily Double. Today we're finishing the 8th parak, Masechus Eiruvin. We're starting the 9th parak. I'm getting a little sick of Masechus Eiruvin, to be honest with you. It's very technical halachas. Yud Aleph, we're doing parak Yud Aleph, Mishnah Yud Aleph, and parak Tet Mishnah Aleph. Mishnah Yud Aleph says, Shtei Diyuto, Zuk Neged Zu, Miksasan Asu Uka, Miksasan Lo Asu Uka. We're talking about a small chatzah that's less than 4 amos, like we said yesterday. So, two houses, residences, share this chutzner. Each have a porch, right? And they want to pour from their porch into the chutzner. So, one family who owns the porch, right? Or let's say there were a couple families in that who own that porch together. They made this special uka, the special ditch to hold the water, so it won't go out through the shorabim. And the other porch, the people who live there didn't make it, right? And they didn't make an eruv together. Etcha asu uka mutar, and they're allowed to pour, right? Because ve'etcha asu uka asur. However, the ones that didn't make the uka are asur. Now, even though technically the water is not going to go out through shorabim, so it shouldn't be a problem, even if they didn't make an eruv and they didn't make the uka. Nonetheless, because the people didn't make the uka, they say, okay, it's okay to pour into the chutzner. They'll go down to the doorway, not from their porch. They'll go down to their door, straight down to the chutzner, and they'll come to carry from their house to the chutzner when they didn't make an eruv, right? So therefore, we don't allow the people that did the uka. They did kalacha, so therefore we're not worried about them. They're doing kalacha. But the other ones who didn't do kalacha, even though technically their problem is solved by the other people on the porch who share the chutzner with them, we're worried about them that they'll be taltel from their house to the chutzner without an eruv, which is a problem. Parak Tet Mishnah Aleph. Kol gagos Rishus achas. Eventually hit gagavo asar nambach asar. Divrei meir. What about, we talk about a chutzner, what about the roof, right? Roofs, you have an apartment building, a lot of people share the same roof, right? Or even the apartment building next to each other, right? Sometimes the roofs are close enough to each other. You can jump from one roof to another roof if you're not scared of falling in between. Or sometimes they're even attached, right? If apartment buildings are next to each other. So those are not like a chutzner, according to Reb Meir. As long as one gag is not 10 tefachim higher or lower than 10 tefachim than the other, because then if it is, then it's similar to a tel b'Rosh Hashanah, like a pile, like a mound in Rishus Harabim, which is a Rishus Yachid. So you might get confused to carry in a Rishus Harabim, we put it on the pile, which is 10 tefachim high and 4 tefachim wide, and we'll violate Hotzah in the Rishus Harabim. That's where Amirs goes there in that case. No, they say every gag is a Rishus B'fnei Atzmo. So technically, according to the Chachamim, even if you share one gag with all the people in your apartment, then I think the Chachamim say would be okay. But however, to carry it to another adjacent roof, that would be a problem because that's similar to a chutzner. It's similar to a chutzner. It's similar enough to a chutzner. The reason our mayor is not worried about it is because a roof is not a place where a lot of people go. Frequently, you don't go up to your roof, right? You go into the chutzner. So chutzner is similar to a shirab, and we're worried if you carry from your house to the chutzner without an eruv, you'll come to carry from shirab to shirab. But a gag is not really comparable to a shirab because a lot of people don't usually use it together. Shimon argues on both of them. Echad gagos v'echad zeros v'echad arfifos rishus achas l'kelim shafs l'sochan v'lo l'kelim she shafsu b'socha b'ayis. Shimon gives a big kula, which is accepted the halacha, and as the mekel until basically throws out basically most of what we said until now, halfway at least. He says there's no such thing as Eiruvin chatzeros. Not for your gag, not for your chatzer, and not for a karfif. Karfif is, let's say, a storage area. As long as these areas are smaller than Beis Tasayim, which is a pretty large area. 2 sa, it's about 50 amos by 50 amos, I think, which is pretty big. It's small. It's a small chutzner, a relatively small chutzner, or a gag, or a karfif. If the kalim were in there, right? If you had, a swing set, you had a basketball that was in the chutzner or was in the gag, you can transport it in the chutzner, even if you didn't make an eruv together. You don't need an eruv. According to everybody else, you need an eruv. Even if the basketball was in the chutzner, or you want to play basketball, you need an eruv. You don't need an eruv, you can't do it. However, Shimon agrees that if you have a basketball in your house, you can't bring it into the chutzner unless you make an eruv. That you need an eruv for. The reason that he's mekel if it's already in the chutzner is because, actually, I'm not going to tell you the reason. You have to guess yourself. But I will tell you the reason and Ian Mitzion coming up next.